We know that China has historically been and remains the primary source of fentanyl in global circulation. Since the Trump administration tightened controls on the shipment of fentanyl into the United States, the CCP has adjusted their practices and begun producing precursor chemicals and outsourcing final production to cartel laboratories in Mexico, to then exploit our porous southern border and poison the American people. My legislation places sanctions on Chinese producers of synthetic opioids and opioid precursors and holds senior government and Chinese political officials accountable for the spread of illicit fentanyl. Specifically, it amends the Fentanyl Sanctions Act to expand the definition of a foreign opioid trafficker to include any Chinese entity that produces, manufactures, distributes, sells, finances, or transports synthetic opioids or active pharmaceutical ingredients or chemicals used to produce synthetic opioids. The expanded definition also includes any senior officials of the PRC government or other Chinese political official that has significant regulatory or law enforcement responsibilities and fails to take credible steps to combat foreign opioid traffickers.
It will beef up sanctions on major Chinese fentanyl traffickers that aid and abet opioid traffickers. The legislation bolsters reporting requirements on fentanyl trafficking under the national emergency declared by the President and includes reforms to the International Economic Emergency Powers Act. I want to be clear, we can't sanction our way out of this fentanyl crisis alone. Sanctions are an important tool, but we'll also need cooperation as well. If we want countries to limit the export of fentanyl precursors and work with us to prevent such substances from entering our country and poisoning our people, we will need the cooperation of law enforcement in other nations, like China and Mexico. That's a simple fact. Tough talk and acid freezes have their role, and I support them. But diplomacy and law enforcement cooperation are also part of the picture we need if we're going to conquer this problem.